We're live. Yeah, we are. Welcome, everyone. Oh,
Yep,
we
they're
got
rolling
people.
in
Oh,
now.
there you go. There you have
That's
him.
it.
Was
We were
wondering
like,
where everyone
we're
were.
just talking to ourselves here. Let's just
Yeah.
talk to ourselves.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? Jorge, Michael, Robert, Ross, Claudette. Long list over here. Hey, Alan, Jose. Good to see you all. Good to see you. We got Bradley here. Bradley Benner.
What's up, guys?
Hey, yeah. Thanks for being here. Thanks for coming, everyone. We're really happy that you're here. We've got a really good session that could transform your local SEO game. I think most of you probably already know Bradley, and for those of you that don't, I'm super excited to introduce him
Where
to
have you been living? You must have been living under a rock if you don't know who Bradders is.
There's a couple of new people here from Chameleon Mode that I've noticed. I don't know the names. So for those of you that don't, he's one of the original founders of Semantic Mastery and Local Fury. And for over 12 years, he's helped businesses and marketers succeed in the digital world. And it's whether it's mastering SEO or boosting your local visibility or growing your agency operations, Bradley's done it. So today, he's going to be sharing his knowledge and proven methods to help you outshine the competition online with local marketing, local SEO. So you're in the right place today if you want to learn from the best. Maybe grab a notepad or a drink, take some notes, write some questions down for a little bit later on, and I'll hand it over to you, Bradley.
Well, thank you, Simon. And that was a very gracious introduction. I appreciate that. And just want to give a quick shout out to Brian and Simon both for inviting me on to this. And I appreciate that. And I was just having a quick chat with Brian about how I've known Brian for many, many years from the industry. And I mean, we go way back like 10, 12 years. Well, 12 years, we were just talking about it, right?
13 years. Yeah, it's scary, isn't it? Very, very scary. Yeah.
Very. And it's, oh, how time flies. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, guys, without further ado, I don't want to waste anybody's time. And, this is not a sales pitch or anything like that. I'm going to talk with you guys about local SEO and really Google business profiles and how to get better performance from them. And also something that we're going to be talking about is the engagement signal service that we have. It's called Local Fury, which has some really interesting kind of side effects that we're going to talk about today, which is actually kind of where the way that we're promoting this service, which is a done for you engagement signal service. Some of you guys are familiar with CTR manipulation, etc. And you guys know that it's a very manual process, and there's all kinds of different opinions on which type of volume of signals you should send and how many, and should it be branded searches or search query type, like keyword searches, or a combination of both, and all this stuff. And I've done a lot of manual CTR myself over the years. In fact, the first person I learned how to do CTR from was Ivan Budimir in the Maps Magic project or campaign or course training program that he had, which way back then he was teaching about how to do CTR manipulation using microtask workers from Mechanical Turk and things like that. And I'll never forget it because he brought out the patent that he called the Google Site Weight patent. That wasn't the official name, but that's what Ivan called it. And back then we used to hire microtask workers to do search and clicks. And then bots came out, and bots were incredibly effective for some time. And then kind of Google started identifying what was faked traffic or spoofed traffic versus real traffic. And so had to get more creative with it. And anyway, long story short, let's fast forward to today. Google's gotten a hell of a lot better at detecting manufactured traffic. Okay. So it uses validated traffic signals to assign weight or value to those engagement signals. And so in other words, like what Simon does with Chameleon, all of you guys are here because of Chameleon. It's about creating profiles and making them look as real as possible, because then any activity from those profiles is weighted significantly more than if you just have some random, social media profile with no following, no activity, or whatever, and you try to use those for SEO. It's not effective. But when you take the time to build the profiles up and make them appear real and everything else, then you can produce a lot of positive effect from using those profiles. Well, we've done something very similar with CTR signals and engagement signals by creating profiles that we've optimized and try to simulate to make them look as real as possible, like all the time, not just when we're using them. And so what I'm going to be sharing with you today, guys, is kind of the service that we've developed, which is a done-for-you service because it takes the guesswork out of how to set up and manage these campaigns appropriately. And just to be clear, like I said, we're going to go through some additional training and all that. I don't do any hard sales pitches. I'm going to share with you guys the process that we go through, what you should be doing prior to sending signals to a campaign so that you can set it up so that it responds well to the signals when you send them. And then I'm going to show you guys what our service does, and that's it. Like, there's no hard sales pitch. And if you guys think it's appropriate for you and your agency, by all means, it's available. If it's not, hey, no harm, no foul. You'll learn something today. Just wanted to be clear about that. But something that we're going to share today is about the way that we generate these signals. Is we're very conservative in that we don't want to be overly aggressive, because this is a longer term strategy. This is not the quick win. Like, we're going to throw a bunch of signals at something and get it to rank very quickly. Then later that causes problems. Instead, what we do is we kind of teach how to build brand authority, which is incredibly important for proper CTR. If having the brand well established, the local entity well developed, which I'm going to explain how to do that today, then it makes the CTR so much more effective. And so that's what we're going to be talking about today, guys. So if it's all right with you guys, I'm going to grab the screen and kind of jump right into it.
Yes, please.
Okay.
And if anybody's got any questions, do you want us to leave them to the end or ask whilst they come in?
Probably wait till the end if you don't mind, so I can get through this. I'll try to go through this fairly efficiently, guys. Like I said, I'm not going to go through the whole value stack. If this only did, would it be worth it? I'm not going through all that shit. Okay, I don't do that.
Yeah. I don't need that anyway. Not today. Yeah.
I'm just going to show you what we do. Help you guys to, like, again, if you're doing CTR on your own and you're fairly effective with it, then you'll still probably learn something from today, that's all that I can ask. Or hope for, really. So with that, guys, I'm going to grab the screen. And by the way, how's audio and everything? Is it coming through okay?
Yep. Perfect. Yep.
Okay, perfect. So let me see if I can figure out how to share on this. It's a different platform for me. So I'm just going to share the whole screen. You guys can let me know if you're seeing it.
Yep.
Okay, perfect. All right, guys. So like I said, we're talking about is local Fury engagement signals. This is what I call the final piece of the local SEO puzzle, because this is really something that should be applied at the end of a campaign or after the other main elements of a local SEO campaign are in place and done at least to a fairly decent level. So what we're going to cover today is the background. Where did local Fury? How did we start that? Why? The big updates that we've implemented, within the last few months. The requirements for the best results. This is critically important, because if you skip or take shortcuts here, which I see a lot of SEOs do all the time, then you're not going to get the results. And then you're going to blame the service instead of yourself for not doing what you're supposed to do. So I'm going to talk about requirements for best results pretty extensively, because I think it's absolutely critical to have the foundational elements done to a decent level before you start slamming it with CTR signals, okay? Because that's an unnatural signal if it's not done in a proper progression. Okay, so again, we'll talk about that. Then we'll show you some example results, when to apply the signals, and in our offer, which again is a pretty straightforward offer, guys. You'll see at the end. All right. So the background: Local Fury is done for you engagement signals for local SEO. We developed this specifically because, as I mentioned before, I was managing CTR manually. I was using CTR Booster, Michael Bowe's Viper tools. Yeah, Kraken and the Viper tools and all of that. And, I've used multiple CTR apps over the years. And part of the problem is it's very manual. And you have to do a lot of trial and error to figure out what kind of the best kind of mix of signals is, the best recipe of signals, so to speak, and the proper volume of signals and everything else. And I've been in dozens of CTR signals or engagement type CTR manipulation Facebook groups, et cetera. And I've seen just so many conflicting, differing opinions on what the proper recipes are and all that kind of stuff. And so over time, especially once I started doing this as part of a white label service offering, all of a sudden I went from just managing my own couple dozen clients or campaigns to managing hundreds of campaigns. And it became absolutely unmanageable to do manually. And not only that, but it was just incredibly difficult to try to get the proper mix of signals for each location, because it requires so much kind of monitoring of the results initially once you get it dialed in, it's almost set and forget, but it takes time to dial it in. And so we developed this to be more scalable. And it was in part to help me with my agency and my white label services agency so that I could scale more. Okay. So part of the why I did this was just to make it easier to scale. And so this service is really, we developed it for agencies or consultants that have a lot of local SEO clients. Don't get me wrong. You can be a one-off. You can submit, a one-hit wonder if you'd like. But what we really developed this more for agencies because it's set and forget. It's hands off. It's done for you. Fully managed signal service by my team and I, basically. Okay. So as I mentioned at the top of the call, we prioritize brand building authority through a combination of signals. So we're building brand authority through a combination of signals and what we call geostacks. And all of that helps to influence going back to what I mentioned earlier, Ivan Budimir, who was one of the largest influencers of my local SEO career, way back when, he pulled out a patent that was, it was a patent that was approved in like 2006 or 2008 or something like that. But it was in 2011-ish timeframe where he was talking about site weight. If all things are equal and there are two sites, this is an older patent, guys, but it's still integrated or ingrained into the current algorithm. And that is Google applies value or assigns kind of authority metrics to brands. And so if you had two local business brands that had the exact same authority metrics, like in other words, all other SEO signals were exactly the same. Now, this is theoretical or hypothetical because we know that that's not possible, but let's just assume that we could have two businesses that had the exact kind of same level of authority from all other external SEO sources. If you have one of those two companies that receives a more branded search and clicks or some variations of the brand search and click than the other, then that one is always going to outperform the competitor. And the reason why is because that signifies to Google that it's more popular, it's more in demand. And so therefore, Google assigns kind of a weighted score to the brand and how authoritative is it. And so you can build authority or add weight to a brand by manipulating these types of signals. That's what I'm getting at. Now, you don't have to. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Brian. Were you going to mention something?
No, I was just going to say that, like, I still stumble across people whom say backlinks don't matter in SEO, right? And what you've just said there is, all things being equal, for two organic results, right? All same content, exactly the same number of brand searches, yada yada yada. What then is going to be the next thing that makes them stand out, right?
Right.
It's the one with the best backlinks. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And so it's exactly, so that's what I was it's exactly the same thing, but
that's right.
With the backlink conversation that we have. So yeah.
That's right. And so there are different ways to build authority. And so, but one of the most powerful ways to build authority right now, guys, is proper search signals. And that's what I'm saying. Like, and it's really interesting, but this is a quick aside. I started a real estate flipping business a few years ago. I got back out of it because it was eating up too much of my time. It took too much time away from my SEO business. But I'd started a real estate flipping business, and so I had a landing page that was built on ClickFunnels, and it was never optimized to rank in search. That wasn't the purpose. I was driving traffic to the landing page through direct mail, physical mail, and through Google Ads. That was how I was driving traffic to the landing page. But because the physical mail that I sent to property owners telling them that I wanted to make them an offer to buy their property, it had my my logo, which was called Alpha Land Realty. It had that at the top of the letter, that the letters that I would send to the property owners telling them I wanted to buy their property. And what was interesting was 1 month after I started sending direct mail at a volume of 250 to 300 direct mail pieces per week. So I was sending anywhere between 1,000 to 1,200 per month. Within the first 30 days, my ClickFunnels landing page ended up ranking for the search query Sell Land Fast Virginia. Because next to my brand name in the SEO title of that landing page, I had that search query, that keyword. So it was Alpha Land Realty - Sell Land Fast Virginia. That was the SEO title. And because people were going to Google and searching for the brand name because they were receiving my direct mail, and instead of going to the landing page URL, which was in the letter, they would just go to Google and search. And this was unintentional. I discovered this by accident is what I'm saying. But they would go to Google and search for Alpha Land Realty, and then they would click through. And because of those branded search and click signals, it ended up ranking for the search query that I had as appended to the SEO title, which was Sell Land Fast Virginia. So I ended up ranking #1 with no backlinks and not intentionally trying to rank the page, just from branded search and clicks, from validated Google users, which is what I was getting at earlier about if you're sending a bunch of CTR bot traffic that is not validated traffic, it has a lot less effect than if you're getting real clicks from real users that Google knows is real people that have real Android phones or real Google profiles. And so that's critically important, guys, is to understand that. But why I bring all that up is because, like what Brian just said, is there's different ways to build authority. One of the most powerful ways to do that right now is through search signals, proper search signals. Okay. And by the way, if you do that properly, you can sometimes rank with like no backlinks and everything else. I'm not saying that you guys should not or ignore all the rest of those other signals, because I think it's a proper holistic view of all of these things, proper implementation of all of these things that are going to give you the competitive edge. Okay. So it's important.
Especially
and that's why,
today.
especially today.
Especially today. Today, that's one of the most important 100%. Signals, is to send the brand signal out there. And I saw that recently. We started promoting Chameleon Mode, and lots of people are searching for Chameleon Mode. Chameleon Mode review is now in the Google Suggest. It wasn't there before. And then not just that, it's creeping up. All these other competitive keywords are just all of a sudden, I was on page 12, we're on page 3 and 8, and all we've done was hit lots of Chameleon Mode review brand searches. That's it. You know, we hit like over 150 just Chameleon Mode, and it was like we hit a landmark, you know, when you get that update from Google Webmaster, and everything else is creeping up along with it just because of those brand searches.
It's incredibly powerful.
Done anything else. Yeah,
that's right. And that's why I always recommend it first and foremost for all SEO clients, all white label clients, etc. Focus on branding first. That's why you know, we always talk about building branded assets, forcing Google to recognize them, same as attributes and schema, link to them from GBPs, posts, all those kind of things, because it forces Google to pull that data into the knowledge graph. It's very, very powerful. When you build enough authority to the local entity, it makes all other SEO efforts easier. So it's important to understand that. You guys want to add anything else to that before I move on?
No, move on.
All right, perfect.
Lovely.
So again, click-through rate, or CTR, is the acronym for that, aka search and click. That's what I call it, search and click signals in both organic and map search. What we focus on is about 80% map signals, about 20% organic signals, okay? And so this is really developed specifically for Google Business Profile type optimization or campaigns. We do mostly brand searches initially because we want to build that foundation, that baseline of a lot of branded searches before we really start pushing on keyword searches. However, if we look at the project before we start the signals and it already has a very strong brand, then we can start. So in other words, the knowledge graph is well developed. Google has a good understanding of who the business is, what they do, and where they do it. And we can figure that out very quickly, very easily by doing a brand search. All you got to do is go search for the brand name first. Look and see, does the brand, especially when it's a local business, if you geolocate the browser so you can simulate a search from that particular location where the GBP is registered, and then you do a brand search, not in quotes, just the search for the brand name, that company should own pretty much the top 2 pages of the search results. If it doesn't, then that means you should be first trying to build strength and authority to that local entity. Improve the branding before you start trying to send signals to it, because it's not strong enough yet for it to respond appropriately. And there are ways to very quickly manipulate a brand search, guys, to get 2 or 3 pages deep where it's 100% or 80% or greater is what I look for of the first 2 pages. But there's ways to very quickly get that to populate with all branded and supporting assets that are explicitly referencing that particular branded location. And that should be something that gets done initially before you really start sending signals. Something else that we do is we do driving and navigation signals for those that have published street addresses. For businesses that don't, we're unable to do that because it's not really a natural signal to do it. But if it's a published street address, we do driving and navigation signals. We also do engagement with elements of the GBP. So like, in other words, the Google profiles that we're using to create these engagement signals, they'll go peruse the GBP, they'll click on things, they'll like photos or reviews, they'll, click on the different links to like the booking app and things like that. Those are all signals just showing engagement from the user through the Google Business Profile. Okay, so all those things have an effect when it accumulates, especially from profiles that Google thinks are real valid people in that location or real valid Google users. Okay. We increase location relevance with our GeoStacks. This is kind of a hybrid. It's a backlinking method, but we're not promoting it as a backlinking method. What we're trying to do is push geographic relevance. I'll show you examples of this today, guys. But we try to push geographic relevance through Cloud Stacks and Google Stacks. It's a combination of a cloud page with a Google Stack where we're pushing geographic relevance mainly. And then we send signal to that as well. And so that also helps to influence it a bit. And our proprietary methods can influence search suggest. This is the unintended consequence that we stumbled across when we started applying signals in the way that we do. We are able to take over search suggest within Google within about 2 months. If the branding is done properly. Look, we're not guaranteeing this, guys. There are some variables here that will determine whether, and I'm going to show you guys awesome examples of this today. But this is really powerful stuff because I know there's some other companies out there that are doing search box optimization or search suggest optimization for things like Bing, but we can do it in Google and we can do it within about 2 months if the branding is strong enough, which is again part of the reason why we only recommend applying these signals after you've completed those foundational elements properly, because then it's set up to respond appropriately when we send their signals. And when you guys see what I'm going to show you with the search box optimization or search suggest optimization stuff that I'm going to show you today, it's impressive. Okay. And that's why I'm really excited about this. This right here is my favorite thing about Local Fury. So moving on. So the updates, guys, we've actually been at this for over 2 years now. We've had several iterations of it. We've kind of pitched it or promoted this as from different angles, but really I think the way that we've got it now is the best kind of promotional, the promotional method, because what we're talking about here is we're not magic bullets, guys. We're not miracle workers. If you send a project to us for signals and don't do any of the other things that we recommend, then you're not going to get results. Full stop. You might, but it's likely that you won't. And then you're going to blame the signal service. Something that we found from previous attempts at trying to promote this service was that we positioned it as a ranking service. And so that SEOs, SEOs are lazy. Come on, guys. So when we promoted the ranking, yeah, exactly. Whenever we promoted it that way, we got people that would come in and they would say, okay, well, now I don't have to do a damn thing because these guys are going to rank my GBPs for me. And then they'd have shit on page, terrible backlinks or over-optimized or no backlinks or whatever. They'd have awful projects submitted to us and expect us to be miracle workers and magically rank it for them. And when it didn't, it was obviously our fault that they didn't get results. So we've rearranged how we're promoting this now to it's the last layer of SEO signals that you should be sending after the other foundational elements are done, at least to a decent level. They don't have to be perfect, but as long as you have the foundational elements in place, then it should respond very well when we send these types of signals. So I just want to be clear, guys, we've been promoting or working on this and developing this for over 2 years now. It's in the recent months that we've seen the search box optimization or search suggest optimization stuff occur, which I am super excited about. So I'll show you guys examples of that in just a moment. We have driving signals and navigation signals, not just driving directions. We actually do simulated drives with Android phones to and from the location if it's a published street address. It's very powerful. And we can show you exactly the drives that are being performed. Okay, I'm going to show you an example of that today. GeoStacks is a combination of Google Stacks or Drive Stacks. Semantic Mastery put those on the map back in 2015 with RYS Academy. We're still doing those today. We have a vendor that does it, David Morgan. I think he's on the call, actually. David does our G Stacks for us, and he's amazing at it. He's very efficient at it. And then we embed those into cloud pages. I'm going to show you guys examples. And those are super powerful for helping us to achieve the search box optimization stuff that I'm going to show you today. And you guys also get the cloud page links so that you can then do whatever you want with those, build additional links to them, etc. Okay. We have an AI indexing service. That's nothing groundbreaking now, but we use indexing services specifically for the GeoStack links, which helps to kind of push the geo relevance. Apart from the mobile signal sent to the customer properties, we also send mobile and desktop traffic to the geostacks. So again, that's just kind of like tiered CTR manipulation, right? Tier 2 CTR manipulation. So that's what we're doing there. And then we also have the search suggest manipulation again, as I'll point out in just a moment. So again, last piece of the SEO puzzle, guys. That's if you don't have those other elements in place, don't bother. Seriously, get that other stuff done first, because otherwise you're going to be disappointed, and then you're going to say, "Oh, his service doesn't work." How do I know? Because I've heard it. And then we go look at the projects and realize that the guys aren't doing a damn thing. And then we can't be blamed for that. All right, you guys have to have your SEO proper. So the requirements for the best results. The Google Business Profile should have a published street address. I understand a lot of you work with service area businesses. So do I. I work with tree service contractors in my own local SEO agency. That's all I work with. And most tree contractors don't have published street addresses. What I recommend is if you can, you talk your client into allowing them or publishing the street address. Be aware that it could trigger re-verification. So be prepared to re-verify a GBP if you do that. But published street addresses, as I'm sure most of you already know that do local SEO, if you have a published address in the GBP, even if it's a service area business, it will perform better in local search, full stop. And so that we can still apply signals to an unpublished street address GBP, but it's not as effective. So you have to be aware of that up front. We want to set the expectations properly. Also, what I'm going to share with you guys today about the search box optimization, I'll show you live examples. When the Google Business Profile street address is published, it will show a map image in the search suggested results. And it actually pops when you hover your cursor over that suggested search with the map image, it pops a knowledge panel in the search suggest box. It's insane. And I'll show you that in just a moment, guys. That'll be the next slide I'm going to show you guys, or coming up very shortly. The GBP, Google Business Profile, should have decent on-page optimization. So that means fill out the services, add some images, put a business description, proper hours of operation. Just complete the damn profile, okay? Brand search returns a knowledge panel or correct GBP and a 3-back. What do I mean there? Well, go do a brand search. Geolocate your browser for where the GBP is located for your client. Do a brand search. Does it pop a knowledge panel, or is it the top of a 3-pack? If it's a multi-location business or is a similarly named business with some other competitors, you want your clients for the appropriate brand search to show up, your client's GBP to show up in the #1 position in the Maps 3-pack if it returns a 3-pack. If it doesn't, then it means there's some work to be done before it will respond appropriately to the signals. So just keep that in mind, guys. I'm going to show you guys examples today of how to quickly identify if the brand is properly optimized to where the knowledge graph is well developed by Google. We can help Google develop that knowledge graph, guys, very quickly. And I'll show you guys how to do that today as well. Okay. Maps coverage improvements desired within a 10-mile radius of GBP location. Densely populated areas, though, will have narrower coverage. Guys, I'm sure most of you are aware of this, but GBPs have gone hyperlocal. The map coverage area in which Google Business Profiles will be given exposure has shrunk or narrowed considerably over the last 3 years. And it's because Google continues to go more and more hyperlocal. And so if you guys think that you're going to submit a GBP and push it into the top of the 3-pack 25 miles away,
not going to happen.
Don't bother, because it's not going to happen. So did you want to add something to that, Simon?
No, I just said it. I just said it's not going to happen. That's all. Just before you did. That's all.
Yep, 100%. And so, guys, be aware of that. Look, our goal is to help you push Maps coverage area as far as possible, but there's going to be a limit to it, and that limit it varies depending on a number of variables: population, number of competitive companies in the same area, et cetera. So there's a lot of variables to determine that. Our goal is to always try to push that expansion as far as possible, but there are limitations to how far it will go, and there's just nothing you can do to overcome those. Well, let me back up. You can, through sheer brute force, you can oftentimes overcome those proximity limitations, but it's fleeting. In other words, at every opportunity, Google will push that back out of the top 3 because it's not super relevant to that area because of proximity. And so it takes an enormous amount of effort and resources to keep it ranked, and it's not worth it. So what I always recommend is you try to find out what the Maps coverage area limitation is, and you keep it out there, and then you focus on organic and or Google Ads outside of that, if that makes sense. Right. Okay. The project should have a self-hosted website with decent on-page optimization. For the first time in 15 years that I've been doing local SEO, guys, I see more of a correlation between how the self-hosted site is optimized that's connected to the GBP and how the GBP actually performs in map search than I ever have in my 15 years of doing local SEO. Like, meaning the website optimization has a direct influence on how the GBP performs. So if you have a shit website that is not optimized properly, fix it before you start sending signals. Okay. Desired keywords should already appear in the top 20 of the search results. If they don't, it's an unnatural signal to try to start doing CTR on keywords that aren't in the top 2 pages. So just be aware of that. If you have keywords that are not appearing within the top 20 results, then you might want to start working on some other traditional SEO, on-page, link building, etc., to try to get those keywords to move up into those top 2 pages before starting to send CTR traffic to them. All right. Also, one of the ways you can do that is by what I call a compound anchor if you're building links, but you can do it with CTR signals too, which is brand plus keyword. You can do brand plus keyword and brand plus location modifiers, etc., to help start to get some of those keywords to move. We'll talk about that too. Lastly, a fairly decent and relevant backlink profile. As Brian said earlier, it's 100% true, guys. Backlinks are still absolutely valid and like required. If you're in a competitive market, especially, you're going to need to get proper links. There is no substitute for that. So if you think that you can have good on page and no backlinks and then just hit it with signals, yeah, that might help. But if you want to really dominate, you're also going to need good backlinks, proper links. Okay. So, by the way, just so you guys know, we do offer a local SEO audit service as part of Local Fury, where we can go in and provide an on-page optimization analysis and provide you with recommendations on this is what we suggest, so that when we send signals to this project, we know that it will respond appropriately. Hopefully that's clear. Yeah. All right. Moving on. So I'm going to give you guys some examples here. Let's see if this works in this webinar platform. This is a video that I created from a GIF, from screenshots for one of my own clients. I'm going to share with you guys some of my own client stuff today, just so you can see. This is some of the map stuff. You can look at the dates on that. Those are 7 days apart, each one of those. And you can see that what we do is we can try to push the maps coverage area expansion as far as possible. You can see how it's moving up. 7 days, 7 days, 7 days, 7 days. All right, so that's one example. Let me show you another one. This is for landscaping service, same company. So you'll see again, 5.6, 4.2, 3.2, 3.3. So that's within a matter of 4 weeks. These are the types of kind of engagement or results that we can achieve fairly quickly when the other things are done properly. So let's go to the next one. This is for a pest control company. So this is an outdoor pest control company that does tick control. This is actually a much bigger map grid area than typically we typically show. So you can see again how it just kind of jumps all of that. And that's because, remember guys, I want to be clear about this. This was not me just sending signals to these. These were all projects that are on my own local SEO clients. So the other elements were done properly. Okay. Here's another one. Let me just show you. Sorry, just click on that. Mosquito control near me. And then I'm going to show you some live examples too. But you can see how this one moved as well. Let me go to another one. I don't know why. It takes 3 clicks to get it to move to the next one. Here's pest control, Great Falls, Virginia, just so you guys know. Look at that. That one. Look at that.
Yeah, I had a pest control. I remember having a pest control site, I don't know, years ago. And it was just one of the most competitive niches back then. So yeah. No, I haven't done anything like that in years, but yeah.
Here's another one. So this is what I was talking about with suggest search box optimization. So you can see an example. This is a company that does not have a published street address. So we can get the brand name to appear next to the search query. It takes some time. It doesn't happen overnight. But here's another example of that. Okay, so Pest Control McLean, Virginia it's a suburb of the area that they're actually located in. And you can see that it popped up there as well. And here's another one, Pest Control McLean. So the previous one was Mosquito Control McLean, and it popped that. And then we do Pest Control McLean, and you can see it popped up there as well. And that within 2 months. Now, again, strong brand. This is a company that's been around for a while. We've done a lot of brand work for them over the years. So that's part of the reason we're able to do that within a short period of time. Here, this is near and dear to my heart. I work with tree service contractors. I still have some legacy clients in other industries like I just showed you. but I'm going to show you guys live examples of this one here in just a moment. So that was tree removal, just the keyword without a location modifier, tree removal. Here's another one, tree trimming. Take a look. Watch this, 13.9, 3.5, like 3 weeks later. Let me just jump into a quick demonstration to show this to you guys. Are you guys seeing my Firefox or Google screen now? Okay. So I'm not logged in, as you guys can see. I just want to show you a quick example. So this right here is the project that I'm going to show you what we're able to do. This is one of my own projects, so one of my own tree service projects, okay? Louisville Felling Pro, tree service contractor in Louisville, Kentucky. There's only 3 reviews, guys, so even though I talked about having all those other foundational elements in place, this company is lacking reviews like something like crazy, okay? The top-ranked competitors have dozens or hundreds of reviews. They have 3, and yet I'm going to show you how these guys are ranking in a moment in the Bright Local Reports. But in the meantime, I just want to show you, if you do a brand search for this, and don't even have a geolocated browser. This shows I'm in Roanoke, Virginia right now, but this is for Louisville Felling Pro. But by doing a brand search, this company owns the top 2 pages of search results for that search brand, because it's the brand search. So this is what I'm talking about. You should have a strong brand before doing what I'm about to show you, okay? Because the search results become a landing page when you do what I'm going to show you what we do. So we're going to take a look at this. Now, you guys see I'm in google.com, right? Not signed in. It shows right here that I'm located in Virginia, okay? But what I'm going to do is type in tree service LO, and look at this, just tree service LO. You see that? What do you see? Tree service Louisville Felling Pro. And it's the only one that has an image. And if I hover over any one of these suggested search queries, nothing happens. But if I hover over this one, what happens? It pops a knowledge panel in the search suggest box. And where does your eye go when this appears in the search suggest box? It goes directly to this one.
The image. Yep.
Yeah.
Straight to the image.
And by the way, if I add the LOU, it moves up. It's a number 2 position, in the number 2 suggest position. And so if you click on that, this goes to, like I said, a branded search that acts like a landing page, because every single one of these are branded and supporting assets. And for the page 1, go to page 2, even in the page 3, they're branded and supporting assets, right?
And then the beauty of this,
a couple are popping. Go ahead.
Sorry to interrupt, Brad.
No.
Bradley. The beauty of this is then it snowballs, right? I don't know if anybody remembers, but back in the day, I was probably one of the first people to spoof Google Suggest. And that all came about accidentally because me and Ivan were doing the click-through stuff with Short Task, Mechanical Turk even. And I was like, I'm getting loads of traffic for these different searches. And when I looked into what was happening, I had started spoofing the Google Suggest. So then I made loads of U-bot bots and iMacros, and for quite a little while, we made a load of money just spoofing Google Suggest until that all died a death. But the beauty of it is that as soon as you've got it showing up there, you are then getting natural, real clicks.
That's right.
And it snowballs, right? Because then, somebody's clicking on that and, that's another click, and it just goes like that. And it works really, really well once you get it in there.
That's right. And so that's what I'm trying to show you guys here is the various keywords, and you'll see exactly which keywords this works for, because I'm going to show you guys Google Business Insights for this particular GBP. And you'll see specifically when we approach the search and click signals that we send with the keywords that we want to manipulate into suggest, we can get it to pop. When we stop sending those signals, then it starts to fall out of the suggested search queries. So it's something that once you start, if you want it to continue, you got to keep your foot on the gas. You know what I mean? Like there's no way that you can take it off, because it will, like, for example, I had one for arborist that we were pushing on, and then for whatever reason, we stopped, and you can see that it's not really coming up for arborist Louisville, but now like it had been. But the other keywords that we're still pushing on, and this was in fact part of kind of an experimenting test that I was doing, but you can see like tree trimming LOU, or if I go LO, then you saw it, but tree trimming LOU, boom, it shows up. Let me show you one more. We're going to look for stump grinding.
It's coming up in Africa over here as well, according to
Yeah.
Mamadou. He said he's coming up in Africa as well. That search, that result.
Which is crazy because if you geolocate the browser before you do this, then it's going to be more effective. Because I honestly don't give a damn if somebody is on, 2 states away sees this Google, because that would be not relevant traffic. So all I care about is if I can produce this effect in the local area. It happens to also carry over and across usually national searches too, for the most part. But I don't really care if it does or not for that, because it wouldn't be relevant. What I care about is if somebody in the local area starts to search for a generic keyword, that it pops. That's what I'm looking for.
Absolutely.
So,
and it's just worth noting to people on here that start thinking that they can do this themselves. Bradley mentioned right at the beginning that he's tried every CTR service out there. Now, I've tried every CTR service out there, and I've done a lot of this myself manually. And I've done it manually to see what I can break. And it is very, very easy. So when Bradley was on that page and he was showing the brand searches, right? If you're doing CTR and you're doing brand search CTR wrong, you will notice your Google Suggest, if it has a Google Suggest, if you're doing it wrong, that will disappear and you will end up losing your brand search suggest. So you've got to be very, very careful what you're doing. So what I would recommend is you use somebody who knows what they're doing rather than trying to do it yourself and fucking it all up.
Yeah, not only that, but the fact that it's like I said, it's especially if you got a bunch of clients, to be able to try to manage all that stuff on your own is very, very difficult when you have a lot of clients, because it's so time consuming to manage properly. So let me give you guys a quick example. You guys are seeing Google Business Profile right now, right? Correct?
Yes, we see Louise Felling Pro, Louisville.
Yeah. I just want to make sure that
everyone else see it.
Just want to make sure they see the profile manager here. Okay, good. So underneath performance, like I'll just show you guys, we're going to go into the GBP insights, go to websites clicks. This is for 6 months of clicks. Now we started this project at the end of May, I believe, where we started doing CTR. You can see where we started sometime in May is when we started it. And so you see that it started to kind of gradually grow from there. And that's what, if we take a look at the search queries that you guys will see from right here. Let me go down to the search queries and I'll just show you. You guys see what we're doing here, right? So it's a matter of branded. Look at the search, and almost everything here is a brand search or a keyword plus location type search. And so you can see that the ones that we have the higher volumes. Now, remember, this is over 6 months. So this is not a high volume of signals, guys. It doesn't take a lot. When you have proper signals, it does not take a lot of signals. What I'm saying is you can see that this is one of the keywords that we did the least amount of pushing on, and it comes in and out of search suggest, but the other keywords, all of those are doing well in this one too, but that's because there's different variants of that being used up here. But again, I just wanted to show you guys specifically what it is that we're doing, and we focus mostly on brand searches because of all the reasons that I described earlier. But again, you can see like how the traffic kind of grew, or the engagement signals. This was the website clicks I was looking at, but this is the actual traffic signals. And we've actually reduced it a little bit recently, which is fine because it's still showing the search suggest stuff that I was showing you guys here. So I just wanted to give you guys some quick examples of what it is that we do, showing you that. This was a screenshot taken a couple of months ago. But there again is just screenshots showing those exact kind of search and click signals that we're sending. It's not just the type of like the query. It's also where is the origination? Where is that signal being generated? Like where is the source of that signal? Because like I said, guys, if you're doing this type of stuff with bot clicks that Google knows is invalidated traffic, then it's not going to be nearly as effective if it produces a positive effect at all. It's precisely how we manage our profiles and our services, which I can't get into that. It's proprietary, but it's very, very powerful.
Tell us.
Yeah. So
they use chameleon mode. That's what they use. Isn't that right, Simon?
I'll tell you what, I know my developers absolutely are using that to a degree or some iteration of it, because we do have to manage a lot of profiles and keep them to appear as real as possible. So when to apply signals then, guys? Engagement signals should be the final layer of SEO and produce the best gains when the other 4 main optimization elements are done properly or at least decently. right? Things do not have to be perfect, guys. What did I just show you over here? In fact, I'm gonna go into the reporting dashboard real quick just so I can show you, just so you guys can see. This is inside. Oops, sorry. This is inside the Local Fury dashboard as a user. So if you have projects in here, this is what you'll see. So we're looking at Louisville Felling Pro right here. So if I click on Report Portal, it's going to take me over to the Report Portal. I'm getting to a point here, but let me just show you. Inside the Report Portal, you can see some of these projects that I was just sharing with you guys. So Louisville Felling Pro is the one that we were looking at. So I'm going to give you guys a couple of examples here. If I click into here, we provide Bright Local reports for Local Fury clients so that we can track local search grid, that kind of stuff. But so what I want to show you in here is specifically the local search grid report, because, and what I would like to do is actually, let me pause the screen for 1 minute and go get into it inside Bright Local. It'll be easier to see that way. So give me 1 second, guys.
So why Bright Local over anybody else?
I've been using Bright Local since 2014. That's why I've just never used anything else for these types of reports. So I just selected it because I'm familiar with it. I've been using it forever. So, all right, let me grab the screen again. Entire screen. That's what I want right there. Okay. You guys are seeing my screen again, correct?
Yep.
I could see it. Can everyone else see it?
Okay, good.
Yep.
All right, good. Thank you, guys. So let me give you an example, because this is my Bright Local report that I use for the link building campaign and to go to my client. But what I want to show you guys here is take a look at this. This is what I was showing you guys in those screenshots. So when we started this process, which again, coming back over here, you can see when we started applying signals. It was sometime in May is when we started. And then I started link building in June, about the middle of June. And in fact, just to prove it, right here is my link building workbook for this project. So I just want to make sure you guys don't think we're doing any black magic here. So let me show you. This is the link building workbook for this project for Louisville Felling Pros. You can see we started link building in June. So we started applying signals in May, and we started link building about 2 weeks later in June. Okay. Here is the results from that, guys. Let me just show you. Okay. This is where we were in July 2nd, was when I added it to the Bright Local report. Okay. So this is an 11 by 11 grid with half-mile spacing between nodes. You can see the keywords there. 3 weeks later, with 3 weeks, so this had been about six or 8 weeks after we'd started sending signals, and about a month after we had started sending backlinks, proper links to this. Look at how it jumped from originally it was 16.8 average for this keyword tree service to 5.9. And I just ran this today in preparation for today's call. Look where we're at now, 3.9. Now, we've added a bunch of keywords too. So I want to show you, because originally, back up for a minute, these were the keywords that we were tracking when we first started this campaign. Now I'm going to show you that was just run today, which is now a 15 by 15 grid. It's still only a 11 by 11 grid with half-mile spacing. I have not increased that. But look at these keywords now. So this was 3 months, guys, That's from signals. Well, the on-page was done properly. Okay, let's be clear. But you saw where this project was ranking when we started link building and started sending signals. This is why I keep recommending, guys, you don't want to just send signals. If you also get proper links, it's a 1-2 punch. And right there, you can see where this was at the time we started. Let me try to refresh that again. And then you can see where it is now today, right? So again, these three keywords, or the keywords at the time, and now the keywords today are all ranking like this. And I don't know why now the report's being stupid. But in any case, you guys can see that, all right? So then the other thing that I want to show you is from back inside this dashboard, in addition to that, is also the drive signals. So if we take a look, for example, at this one here, this is going to show you the drive signals that I was talking about. Now, this is a published street address. So here's where it shows you the origination. The drive was scheduled. We try to make sure all drives are scheduled within normal working hours. Then we search for the business using Louisville Felling Pro tree service. The drive started, and then the drive ended at the destination. And we can also reverse that for service area businesses. So we do drives to and from, etc. And so you can see that kind of in the signals. Then lastly, just really quickly, because I know we're coming up on an hour and I would like to answer some questions and everything else. But if we come over here and take a look at the links, you're going to see that these are the geo stacks. So the cloud pages and geo stacks that we were talking about. This right here is the cloud page. And this is the geo stack, or the Google stack, with all the geo relevance that we build into a cloud page. And this is part of what we do to help get results for search box manipulation, and also for maps coverage areas. So I'm going to go ahead and close that map, but this is that project here. And again, you can see that this is all, like, what we do is we pick a keyword each month that we're trying to push on. The first keyword that was done for this project was tree trimming. Tree trimming was the first keyword that popped into the knowledge panel, or excuse me, the search box for this. And that's when I realized what we were on to, like right there, tree trimming in Louisville, Felling Pro. That was the first keyword that we had the geostack for this campaign. And it was the first one to show up in search suggest this way. And that's when I was like, I contacted my team and was like, hey guys, next month I want to target tree removal and see what happens. The very next month we did the tree removal geostack, and look what happened. Boom, it popped. And so that's why I know these geostacks are powerful. And again, you get these URLs, which is in your report dashboard, so that then you can build links to them. You can put them in the ID page. You can take this cloud page right here and do an embed gig across a bunch of blogs that are relevant, et cetera. All this stuff is going to help this to rank better. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So that's it, guys. That's pretty much the service that we, these are the kind of 4 components that I always recommend, just so you guys have this for your own data. And again, we have a local SEO audit service that will go through each of these 4 components, and it's very, very thorough analysis. And then if we find anything that we feel can be improved, we're going to provide recommendations, and we provide very thorough, detailed analysis. We do not use an automated audit software, guys, just so you guys know. We don't use any of them shitty automated softwares that do audits. This is a very manual process that we go through, because these are the biggest, what I consider to be the biggest elements, the biggest leverage points in local SEO, meaning these are the things that, when done properly, produce the best performance gains with the least amount of work. Okay. Yeah. So
the fastest wins. That's what I always say to people about these audits. Yeah.
Like you always want to be efficient with where you're applying your efforts. And this is what I found to be the most significant impact on local search performance with the least amount of work. And it's not optimizing your stupid pages to what Page Optimizer Pro or Surfer SEO tells you need to get a 90% and a better score. It's not that at all. And local search, guys, those of you that are wasting time on that, like, that's exactly what you're doing, is wasting time. Google is looking at the main optimization elements of the page structure to determine what the page is about. That's titles, headings, and subheadings. No kidding. It's not all that content, that diarrhea of the keyboard that you guys do on your local pages. Trust me. I do a ton of testing in the local SEO space, and I see it all the time. Local SEOs spend all this time trying to get their perfect score on a page level with content and all this stuff. It's not necessary. It's the main optimization elements of the page structure that Google is looking at. Google is looking for efficiency right now. Okay. So well-established local entity is critical. If you have a branded or ambiguated brand, if you have a polluted, or ambiguated brand, if you do a brand search and you don't pretty much own the top 2 pages, that should be your starting point. Work on fixing that first. There are ways to do that very, very quickly. Proper on page for the website, page structure, site structure, and internal linking. Those 3 components, I put the second 2 components parallel on the same line. Because remember, Google doesn't rank websites for search queries. It ranks web pages for search queries. But thanks to the helpful content update, the overall site quality score has a significant impact or influence on a page's ability to rank. So you can't just stop with proper on page for one page. The whole site needs to be done properly, guys, or else it'll pull that one page down. If that makes sense. So site structure and internal linking is critically important for how Google understands who the business is, what they do, and where they do it. So those three things are critically important. You want to reduce crawl resistance. One of my mastermind members, Cecilia Haniff, she's awesome. She came up with the term that said reduce crawl resistance. Google is rewarding sites that have reduced crawl resistance right now. So that means getting rid of redundancy and duplication, over optimization, competing pages, bloated pages, etc. So for those of you that are out there that are doing local plus service type of businesses, so like service area businesses where you got 5 services and 5 locations you want to target, and you go out and build 25 pages because it's service 1 times city 1, service 1 times city 2, service 1 times city 3, then service 2 times city 1. And you do that, that's completely unnecessary right now. You need 1 page for each service, 1 page for each location. And through proper site structure and internal linking, that's all you need. So if you got 5 services and 5 locations, you only need 10 pages, not 25. And so getting rid of reducing crawl resistance right now is Google will reward those sites when they're structured properly so that Google understands them. So again, this is all stuff that we can cover in an SEO audit. But I just want you guys to have this data, excuse me. Proper on page for the GBP. That's the third component. Completed profile, appropriate GB categories. I can't tell you how many sites I audit, projects that I audit where they're missing a bunch of categories that are relevant. Like, how can you expect to rank for search queries that are associated with the Google Business category if the Google Business category isn't present? You know what I mean? So we see that all the time, guys. Add all relevant categories to your GBP because every category has a group of search queries that Google has associated with the category. If that category isn't present, it's a hell of a lot less likely that you're going to even get an impression for that search query. So add all relevant categories, okay? Collecting and responding to reviews. So getting back to what I was showing you about this, let's see if this report stopped being stupid. Bright Local does this often, though. But what I was going to show you was take a look at the top ranked competitors here, guys. Look at my number of reviews compared to the top ranked competitors. And yet I'm still ranking. So what I'm saying is, even though I'm telling you guys to do all these other things, at least to a decent level, you can have deficiencies and still achieve results. So this project is lacking reviews. Okay. Consistent posting to connect GBP to, GBP, Google Business Profile. So Google Business Post, guys. I know a lot of you think that they're worthless, but think about what you're doing. It's a direct linked connection from the Google Business Profile to whatever you want Google to understand about that local business. So you should be posting a minimum for all of your clients, 2 posts per week. 1 post per week that is always using the Learn More CTA button to link to some page on the main money site, product, service, supporting location page. But then the second post per week should always link to a page URL that has accurate information published about that specific branded location. That can be a business directory listing, a social media post, a press release, a image citation, video citation, documents, anything, any page URL indexed in Google that has accurate information published about the name, address, phone number, and website, or some combination of those data points, you should be linking to regularly from the GBP, because that is a direct connection that pulls that data into the knowledge graph for that local business. So again, guys, if you want to populate a brand search very quickly with all branded and supporting assets for this particular brand, that's how you do it. Same as attributes and schema, having an ID page, a dedicated ID page, unique resource identifier for the purpose of corroborating or validating local entity information. And then doing Google Business Posts, which, by the way, you think this company is doing Google Business Posts regularly and consistently? No. So another deficiency, and we're still able to achieve results. I'm trying to give you guys all of the things that if you do properly, you should be more competitive, even in the most competitive industries. Hopefully that's clear. And then the last thing, guys, the proper off page. As we already talked about, guys, do not skimp on links. And I don't mean go out and spend a lot of money on links that people sell you because of the DR and the DA and all that. Look for relevance. If you can identify potential link sources, that then you want to look at DA and DR because you've identified that the link sources that you're considering are all relevant, then by all means use those third-party metrics. But what I look for in links is first and foremost relevance. Third-party metrics is only a secondary metric. So keep that in mind. You want to make sure that you are getting proper links, guys. And there are 2 types of links to get: top links with topical relevance and influence organic ranking mostly, and links with geographic relevance influence maps ranking, which is why we do these geo stacks here, because we want to try to influence maps ranking more than anything with this service. Hopefully that's clear. All right. So last, guys, reporting. We do the Bright Local search grid, rank tracking. We also do the driving signals, as I was showing you inside our reporting dashboard here. We also provide the cloud stacks or geostacks links. Really, the only thing that matters here is this one. It's the cloud page that has all the embedded drive files and everything in it. This is what matters. The individual links for each one of these assets, I don't think is important. This is important. Okay, it's consolidated target URL. And then the geostack links, excuse me. That's it. So now, guys, I would like to get any questions. Like I said, there is no hard sales pitching, anything else. If anybody wants to know the pricing, it's $150 per month per Google Business Profile location. There is no contracts. You can cancel at any time. But understand that the way that we develop this service is a longer-term strategy. It is not one of them things where we're going to just throw a bunch of signals to try to get your client to rank incredibly quickly. We are in it for the long haul because we want you to keep your clients for the long term. And so that is why we go through the progression of trying to build the branded signals first and foremost before we start pushing on keywords, et cetera. So I just want to point out, like I said, guys, we don't have It's $150 a month per location, flat fee, simple pricing. There it is. Any questions?
How much is the audit?
$149. $149 per audit.
So I have a question. Have
Sure.
you tested driving directions from competitors?
I'd have to get with my development team. I have not personally for my projects. I have not asked for that.
Okay.
So I'd have to get with the development team to find out if we have tried that for other projects.
Yeah. Just to me, it would just make sense that, you know, it kind of makes it look like somebody's been to a competitor, didn't like the competitor, and then they end the search at, you know, your customer's location.
Yeah.
Cecilia,
Anyway.
someone's complaining that the audit price should be more.
I know, and she's right, by the way.
Yeah, I know.
Cecilia's right, because she knows. Cecilia's one of my best members of my coaching pro or Semantic Mastery Mastermind, and she knows I put a lot of effort into the audits. I do a lot of audits for a lot of SEO agencies and stuff now, and they're very, very thorough. But my goal is always to teach a man to fish instead of to give a man a fish. You know what I mean? And so
Yeah.
I don't like to do audits. And so what I try to do is be very thorough in an audit, because those concepts should be able to be applied to subsequent projects without needing another audit. Still, some people want to buy an audit for every project, and that's fine too. So.
Yeah.
A couple of people are asking if they cancel for some reason after a year, do the stacks still remain built?
Yes. Yeah, we don't take them down. They'll remain valid.
Yes, guys.
So Carlos has asked a couple of times, I have many Google Maps, can I use them? So I'm guessing it'll be $150 per location, right?
Correct. Yes, sir. Yeah. If you're talking about Google Business Profiles, it's per GBP, because we have to isolate that GBP as its own kind of target, if that makes sense. So yeah, it's going to be per location.
Yeah.
So, but that's it. Like I said, guys, what I think is really my favorite thing about this was really the search box optimization stuff that really kind of happened accidentally. Like that wasn't my intention. I had always hoped that we would be able to do that, but it was just the way that we started applying signals that all of a sudden it started working really well. And like I said, with the geo stacks, we can target specific keywords. So, you know, if you end up submitting a project to us and there are particular search queries that are really important for the client, then, you know, we can make those a priority, where we do that kind of blend between a brand and the keyword, and brand plus location, brand or keyword plus location. We do a combination of those three things, and it really helps to start popping. Like I said, though, just keep in mind that if you end up later canceling that, the search box optimization effect will drop at some point.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
And do you have a service that if they're not quite ready and they're not dominating the first page or two with the brand, anything that you could recommend that they do, or do you have a service? Yeah.
Yeah, we do. We have, you know what, I should put that in here separately as a separate service, but we have a service called Brand Builder that through one of my white label SEO agencies called Semantic SEO. And it's Brand Builder. It's $549. I recommend charging a client $1,000 for it retail, but we deliver it within 28 days, and we can pretty much guarantee your money back within that. You're going to own the top 2 pages of a brand search within a month from the brand builder service. Like I said, we charge $549 for fulfillment. I recommend that you charge a client $9.99 for that, so that you make almost 100% markup on it. We do have a service for that, so we'll add that in here as a separate link.
Nice.
Yeah. Cool. Hold on. There's a link. The link it was shared on an offer, but let me put the link in there as well. I don't know if it was easy to see. Where's
this one here?
Someone's asking for the
sorry.
link in the chat.
Yeah, I should have put it in there. I apologize. Let me put that in there for you guys now. You guys should see it now.
There's the links in the chat, guys. Cool.
Yeah. Okay. So any others? Robert says, will these concepts work for non-local example e-commerce store? No, this is developed specifically for projects with a GBP. I mean, if it has a Google Business Profile, we could try it. I don't know how it would respond, because that's not really what this was developed for. So
I just want to say again, because I've done a lot with suggests over the years, the fact that you guys can get a suggest into Google Suggest means that Google really trusts the signals that you're giving. And I cannot state how important that is. So currently, I have a couple little bots that spoof Bing and Amazon suggests, right? Problem is, as soon as one of them goes down, the suggests disappear. Like what you said about, with the Googles, because they'll just drip away.
Mm-hmm.
And it cost me an absolute fortune in residential IP addresses and the data just to keep things up there. So it's something that Google, I've not got it to work in Google since 2013 or 14. So so I'm just trying to big it up because it's really, really good.
A couple of guys asking, Carlos and Seth want to know how many keywords you could
we don't have a limit on the keywords. What we typically do is, we're going to start with all brand search queries initially, unless it's already a very well-established brand, in which case then we can go right into doing some keyword stuff. But again, guys, it's a progression. We're not going to jump right into keywords initially because that can create an unnatural signal. And if Google flags a project for being manufactured signals, then it can hurt performance indefinitely. And so what we recommend is we always kind of want to make sure that the branded kind of baseline of signals is there first before we start pushing on keywords. What I recommend, though, is that you stick to the high level keywords, the broader keywords, like which you saw I was promoting: tree service, tree removal, tree trimming, stump grinding, the main service keywords, not super long tail stuff, not send us 30 keywords that are all different variations of the same keyword. Stick to the primary category level keywords, like Google business category level keywords. Because as I mentioned before, guys, Google has a group of search queries that are already associated with the Google business categories. So if you stick with top level category type keywords, then that means that GBP can then be served for all the search queries that Google has associated with that category, whether you're actually pushing on those particular keywords or not. So just keep that in mind. You want to keep it higher level. Then if there are particular things that are a little bit more, that we should prioritize, just let us know and we'll work them into the campaign.
Cool. And it's any country? This is good for any country? Mike wants to know.
No, that's not for every country. I don't know off the top of my head what the limitations are. I would say stick with English-speaking countries for now. For any of those of you that are outside of have projects outside, contact us at support@localfury.com. That's support@localfury.com and ask. And if we can accommodate you, we will, and we'll make sure Simon gets the credit for it. If we can't, then we'll let you know.
Lovely.
Okay.
Cool. All right.
I don't have any others for you guys. Any other questions coming in, or can we wrap it up?
Just looking.
I think we're good. Thanks, Bradley. Though that was really good.
Yeah, man. No sweat at all. I appreciate you guys, and man, it's good to see you, Brian.
I know. It's people don't realize on here like how there's not very many people that have been around as long as myself and Bradley. We've it's, and when your lives have touched each other, that's not the right way to say it, but we go back a long way, and some of our friends back then unfortunately aren't in the industry anymore, but we kind of wish that they were, because I even the other day I messaged Ivan, and I know people probably don't know who Ivan is on here, but I said, mate, this fucking AI stuff, you would love it. You would absolutely love it if you were in this industry now. So yeah, he's a carpenter now, and he does a bit of TikTok stuff too.
No kidding. Because he was such a savant when it came to map stuff, man. Like he was just the guy was just so far ahead of his time. I swear to God.
Yeah.
So
I know.
Anyway.
I know. A lovely guy guys, too. Man. Yep, lovely guy. Yes, and you. Right, we're gonna go.
All right.
Okay.
Thanks for coming, everyone.
Everybody.
Thanks, Bradley. It was a real honor.
It was. Thank you.
Take care.
Loved it.
Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye, everyone.